The sun was dipping low over Ouagadougou, painting the streets in a soft golden light that clung to the dust and made even the broken walls seem warm. The city was buzzing the way it always did at dusk, vendors shouting prices over steaming pots of rice and groundnut stew, motorbikes zigzagging impatiently, children laughing barefoot as they chased each other through the market square. Amid all the noise, a boy stood at the roadside. He couldn't have been more than 10. His shirt hung loose on his thin shoulders, his hands were dusty, and his eyes, wide and dry, not crying, carried a weight far heavier than his age. He whispered rather than begged, as though the world might not hear him anyway. "Please, for my brother," he said, almost to himself. People passed him quickly. Some glanced at him with pity, others with annoyance, but most simply looked away. In a city where everyone carried their own struggles, one small voice was easy to miss. Then came the sound of engines, louder than the motorbikes. A convoy slowed to a stop near the market. Soldiers in uniform looked around sharply, their presence pulling the eyes of the crowd. But what really caught the boy's breath was the tall man stepping down from one of the cars. His face was familiar, painted on walls, spoken of in whispers and pride. Ibrahim Traoré, the young captain who had risen to lead the nation. The boy froze. Could he dare? His legs trembled. But then he thought of his younger brother, lying weak on a thin mat, his lips dry, his breath uneven. If he didn't try now, maybe tomorrow would be too late. So he ran, past the startled soldiers, past their outstretched hands, straight to the captain himself. He tugged at the edge of Ibrahim's uniform. The soldiers moved, but Ibrahim raised his hand, stopping them. He turned. His eyes, sharp with authority, softened as he bent down to the child's level. "What is it, petit frère?" he asked, his voice low, gentle. The boy swallowed, gathering courage. "My brother is sick, very sick. We have no food, no medicine. I beg you, not for me, but for him. Please, mon capitaine." The words shook, but they carried truth. Around them the crowd grew silent. Every ear leaned closer, waiting. Would this man of power dismiss the boy like so many others, or was he truly different? Ibrahim rested a hand on the boy's shoulder. "Where is your brother?" He blinked in disbelief, then pointed toward the alleys. Ibrahim didn't hesitate. He stood, motioned for the guards to give way, and held the boy's hand himself. "Show me," he said. Gasps rose from the crowd. Leaders rarely walked into those narrow, forgotten places. But Ibrahim followed the boy, his boots stepping into the dust of the same streets where the poor lived every day. They reached a shack made of rusted tin and old cloth. Inside the air was heavy, hot. On a mat lay a smaller boy, his body fragile, his chest rising with painful effort, his skin pale, his ribs pressing through, his eyes glazed with fever. There was nothing beside him, no food, no water, not even a blanket. The older boy stood stiff, bracing for disappointment. "He has been like this for days," he whispered. "I begged, but no one listened. They told me to move away, that there were too many like us." Ibrahim knelt. He touched the sick child's forehead gently, his hand lingering there. The child stirred faintly, but did not wake. For a moment he closed his eyes. Memories stirred, his own childhood in a small village, the taste of hunger, the shame of needing help and finding none. He remembered what it was like to feel invisible. When he opened his eyes, they were steady. "No child's cry should ever be ignored," he said softly, but his words carried out into the street where the crowd listened in silence. He called to his men. One ran for a doctor. Another fetched food and water. Within minutes, rice, milk, and medicines filled the shack that once held only emptiness.
The older boy's eyes widened as he watched, as though he didn't dare to believe it. "What is your name?" Ibrahim asked him. "Adama," he whispered. "And your brother?" "Moussa." "Adama," Ibrahim said firmly, "you will not be alone anymore. Moussa will be treated. Both of you will have what you need." He paused, looking at him with a seriousness that was almost fatherly. "But more than that, our country must see every Adama and every Moussa. We cannot build a future while leaving our children in the shadows." The crowd outside murmured. Some wiped their eyes. It was not just charity they were witnessing. It was a promise. The doctor arrived quickly, kneeling at Moussa's side, checking his pulse, giving him medicine. Slowly the child's breathing steadied. A thin color returned to his cheeks. Ibrahim stayed until he saw the fever break. Then he turned again to Adama. "What do you dream of, petit frère?" Adama hesitated, unused to anyone asking. Then he said softly, "I want to learn, to go to school. I want Moussa to be strong. I want us both to help others one day." Ibrahim smiled, his hand brushing through the boy's hair. "Then you will. I'll make sure of it." By the time he stepped out of the shack, the sun had already set, and stars twinkled faintly above Ouagadougou. His convoy moved again through the streets, but the whispers spread faster than the vehicles. People told one another of what they had seen. The captain who stopped for a beggar child, who entered a poor shack without hesitation, who promised not with speeches, but with his hands and presence. Inside the shack, Adama sat beside his brother who slept peacefully for the first time in days. Hope stirred in his chest, real hope, warm and solid. He had seen that even in a world where many turned away, there were still those who listened. And as Ibrahim looked out through the window of his car at the darkened streets, he felt the truth settle in his heart. Leadership was not just about battles or politics, it was about moments like this. Moments where a nation's future rested in the fragile hands of its children, and where the choice to stop and listen could change everything. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more inspiring stories of kindness and humanity. Hit the bell icon so you never miss a story that reminds us of the power of compassion. And tell us in the comments, what did you feel when Adama held Ibrahim's hand?